Hey knowledgeable, welcome to today's session. So today we would be talking about some of the properties of whole numbers. So today we would be talking about commutative property, associative property, distributive property of whole number. We would also be seeing the additive identity, multiplicative identity, and we will also learn about some of the patterns and observations, and we will also do some questions and answers. So let's see what the commutative property of addition and multiplication says. So it says the change in order of two whole numbers in an addition operation and multiplication operation does not change the sum or product. So either you do 3 plus 5 or you reverse the order to 5 plus 3, the result remains the same. Both will give you 8. In the same way, either you do 12 into 10 or 10 into 12, the result remains same. So it will give you 120. So coming to the associative property of addition and multiplication, so what it says, when more than two whole numbers are added or multiplied, the result remains the same irrespective of how they are grouped. So let's see the first example where we need to add 3 plus 5 plus 2. So either you group 3 plus 5 together or 5 plus 2 together, it will give you the same result. So it will give you 10. In the same way, if you see the multiplication, right? So you have to multiply 4, 3 and 5. So either you group 4 and 3 together or 3 and 5 together, it will give you the same result. So it will be 60. So let's see what the distributive property tells. So it tells that multiplying the sum of two addends by a number produces the same results as when each number is multiplied individually and the products are added together. So now let's go to the example. So here if you see the 5 and 3 are addends. So either you add these two, that is 5 and 3, and then multiply by 6, or you individually multiply 6 and 5 and 6 and 3 and then add. It will give you the same result. So if you see the left hand side, it will give you 6 into 8, that is 48. Coming to the right hand side, it will give you 30 plus 18, 48. So let's see a illustration of distributive property. So here we have a cloth which is marked with squares, and the total number of squares actually are 8 in a row, and there are such 6 rows. So what we have done, we have taken a scissor, we have cut the cloth into two pieces. So one piece contains 5 squares in a row, and there are such 6 rows, and the other piece contains 3 squares in a row, and there are 6 rows. So if you see this piece of cloth is sum of this piece of cloth and this piece of cloth. So it can be written as 6 into 8 equal to 6 into 5 plus 6 into 3, and 8 can be again written as 5 plus 3. So if you see this line, so this line is what we had read in the earlier slide. This is called the distributive property. So this was just an illustration to show the real life example. So let's try to see another illustration of a distributive property through one question. So what the question is telling, the school canteen charges $20 for lunch and $4 for milk for each day. How much money do you spend in 5 days on these things? So there are two methods through which we can find the answer. So with the method one, what we can do is to find the total amount for one day and then multiply it by 5. What is the method 2? Method 2 is basically find the amount for lunch for 5 days and find the amount for milk for 5 days, and then you add it together. So if you see in the left hand side, so this will give you the result. In the same way, adding this plus this will give you the result. So we can write 5 into 20 plus 4, that is this one, is same as 5 into 20 plus 5 into 4, this one. So basically it will give you the same result. It will give you the value as 120, and this also illustrates your distributive property. So this is the equation which we had seen in the earlier slide. Now coming to the additive identity. So what does this mean? So it means that for whole number, 0 is considered as additive identity. That is, 0 is such a number when added to any whole number, the whole number remains same. So it doesn't lose its identity. So if you add 0 to 7, it will remain as 7. If you add 0 to 8 or any other whole number, it will remain as it is. So now coming to the multiplicative identity. So what does this mean? So for whole number, 1 is considered as a multiplicative identity. That is, 1 is such a number when multiplied to any whole number, the whole number remains same. So if you multiply 1 to 7, it will give you result as 7. If you multiply 1 with 8, it will give you result as 8. So 1 is considered as multiplicative identity for whole numbers. So let's try to understand some pattern in the whole number. So for that, what we'll do, we'll try to denote the number with the dots. So 1 is denoted by a single dot, 2 is denoted by 2 dots, 3 is denoted by 3 dots, and so on. So now coming to the first observation, what it is. So in such cases, dot corresponding to all whole number except 0 and 1 can be used to make a line. So if you see for 0, there is no dot, so it can't be used to make a line. For 1, there is a single dot and that represents a point. So for making a line, you need at least 2 dots. So if you see dot representing 2 can be put adjacent to each other to create a line. In the same way, the dots representing 3 can be put adjacent to each other to make a line. And similarly, the dot corresponding to all the whole numbers can be used to make a line. Now coming to the second observation, what it is, if the whole number can be represented in the form of a into a, where a is greater than 1, then dots can be used to make a square. So what is a square? So a square is a shape where all the four sides are equal. So if you take the case 4, right, so it is 2 cross 2 and we can place all the 4 dots in such a way that it makes a square. Similarly, if you see 9, 9 is 3 into 3. So we can place all the 9 dots in such a way that it makes a square. Now coming to the third observation, if the whole number can be represented in the form of a cross b, where a and b are greater than 1, then the dots can be used to make a rectangle. So what is rectangle? So the two opposite sides are equal. So this is also a, this is b, then this is also b. So if you take the case of 6, so 6 can be represented as 2 into 3 and we can place the 6 dot in such a way that it takes a shape of rectangle. In the same way, if you see 8, 8 can be represented as 2 into 4 and all the 8 dots can be placed in such a way that it forms a rectangle. So let's see some of the tricks through which the day-to-day calculation could be made easier. So as we know that addition and multiplication with 10, 100, 1000 and such kind of numbers is very easy to do. So if somebody gives you the problem like this, 98 into 102, so what we can do, we can split the 102 into 100 plus 2 and then we can apply the distributive property to get 98 into 100 plus 98 into 2, and this is very easy to do. This will be 9800 and this 98 into 2 is also very easy to do. So that gives you 196 and we can easily add to get 9996. So coming to the another trick, so sometime rearranging the expression help you in solving. So suppose you have been given this expression to solve, that is 20 into 88 into 5. So what we can do, we can just rearrange. We can bring the 5 with 20. So 20 into 5 gives you 100 and 100 into 88 gives you 8800. Now try to solve one of the question using the distributive property. So let's see what the question tells. So a teacher purchases 42 mathematics books and 42 English books for each class. If the cost of each mathematics book is rupees 50 and of each English book is rupees 40, find the total amount paid by the teacher to the shopkeeper. So here what we need to find it out. So we need to find the total amount paid by the teacher to the shopkeeper, and the total amount paid by teacher is equal to the amount paid for the mathematics books plus the amount paid for the English book. So he got 42 mathematics books, and the total cost of the mathematics books would be 42 into 50 because 50 is the cost of each of the book. In the same way, the total cost of the English book would be 42 into 40. Now we can solve this total expression using the distributive property. So we can write it as 42 into in bracket the 50 plus 40. So it gives you 40 into 90, and that is 3780. This is what I wanted to teach in this session. Thank you for watching this video.